Warning, listening to Unleash Your Genius can be good for your health.
Symptoms may include looking and feeling better.
More energy, healthier kids, and increased productivity.
Unleash Your Genius podcast brings you the science, art, and philosophy of health, wellness,
epigenetics, and lifestyle. Stronger, fitter, faster.
Naturally, holistically, simply.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Unleash Your Genius podcast. My name is Dr. Brian Peterson, and I'm your host today. I'm really excited about today's episode. My guest today is Rachel Adams, who is currently ranked in the top 1% of all realtors in Placer and Sacramento County in California. Her team is anticipated to close nearly $50 million in sales for the year. And last year, she was named one of Wall Street Journal's top 1,000 agents in the U.S. When not actively selling homes, Rachel can be found traveling the U.S. with her business partner, coaching others on how to build a successful real estate team with a winning mindset. She has a love for public speaking and enjoys seeing the positive effect that her experience brings to the lives of others. While real estate is in her blood, her greatest joy comes from encouraging others to lead their best life. Rachel often hosts Female Empowerment Masterminds, all geared towards finding your power within. Rachel's love for inspiring others, combined with her own unique and powerful journey, led her to create the Lost to Found 90 Days book and program. This empowering program leads people to live their best life. With her large and successful presence on Facebook and other social media platforms, she is excited to share this with people around the world and is poised to create a global network of Lost to Founders who are committed to living lives of intention, great success, and well-being. I'm so excited to have you on the show, Rachel. Welcome to the Unleash Your Genius podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Thanks. I know I just introduced you. Can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am 32 years old, and I think I didn't necessarily know what direction my life would go. I knew that I was raised right outside the Napa Valley in California, and I liked some of the finer things in life, and that if I wanted to continue that I needed to work pretty hard. I had my first job when I was 15 years old, and I got in, had a bunch of different jobs in marketing and the wine industry and different things, and really realized that for me, I wanted to build relationships with people, and that if I was passionate about something, that I could probably sell it. And I got into real estate. My grandma was a real estate broker. My dad's a real estate broker. And I got into real estate after saying I would never do it. And in 3 years, I hit top 1,000 agents in the country. Right. And so obviously, I'm a huge believer in failing forward, and I like to fail really quickly. I definitely like the shiny objects and then grab at them. And yet I realize now that if there's a certain life that I want to lead, I don't just want to be about my job. And so I've done a ton of personal development the last few years, and now I own 4 companies. I have a traditional real estate business. I have a real estate coaching program, an investment company, and then now a personal development book and program, and just got engaged, which is exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So life is such an interesting journey, but I'm riding it full force right now.
That's awesome. You're quite driven, obviously.
Yeah, I am. I want everything. I want a big, beautiful life. I want to be super healthy, and I want to feel good, and I want to have great relationships and big conversations and, business goals and travel. And so I figured if it truly is a life by design and I get to figure that out, then what does that look like to me? And then I kind of build backwards.
So you've done a lot of personal development. Can you share some of your mentors or some maybe a couple of your favorite books, or what did that path look like for your studying, for your personal development?
Well, to be honest, there's a little bit of a story if I can share it with you.
Yeah.
So, I think that a lot of times when people see someone on the outside, like, so say on Facebook, right, you see all these people living these like amazing lives and they have the perfect family and the perfect hair and all that stuff. You're like, God, their life is so easy. And I was that person watching everybody and wanting that life. And so this rise to, becoming a top 1,000 agent in the US, I worked really, really hard. And one thing I was really intentional about is what I put out there. And I wanted to be that realtor with like the perfect job and the perfect lifestyle and the perfect friends and all of that. But what people don't know is that on the, when you work that hard and you have such a commitment to a goal, sometimes other things suffer. And for me, in the 3 years it took me to hit top 1,000, I had gotten a divorce that I never dealt with. I gained about 32 pounds and I was putting everybody else's needs in front of my own, like family, friends, clients, you name it. And my company, Keller Williams, they heard there's this young girl, she's under 30. She's a big agent. Like, let's fly her out to corporate in Texas and shoot a commercial about and have her inspire all these other agents. So I go and I fly out there and I'm really excited. But what, they don't know is what was going on at home, all I'm told is that I'm interviewing with this health and wellness coach, and she's coached Matthew McConaughey and the founders of Microsoft, and she's this big deal. So I go to sit down with her and I'm wearing the tightest pair of Spanx you can find to like suck it all in, get hair and makeup done. And I sit down with her and like, honestly, Brian, like I'm so used to everyone asking real estate questions. So she's talking to me and I'm like, well, I did this and I did this and I did this. And she's like, mm-hmm. And how did that make you feel? And I'm like, feel? I mean, bumps and bruises, but you do what you do.
Right.
I'm gonna keep talking. And she said, and how did that make you feel? And I'm kind of like, what the heck, chick? Like, you're messing up my flow. And she kind of gets this funny look on her face and she asked the camera crew to step outside. And I'm super confused. Like, I don't know what's going on. And she takes my hand and she says something that kind of shifted my life. She said, Rachel, have you ever heard that your video isn't matching your audio? And I was like, no. And she said, I mean, what you're saying you're doing, I don't know if you're actually doing. Because at the time, I'm literally traveling all around the U.S. coaching people on how to build a business and work on their mindset. And yet, I work so hard for this like image of perfection. And I'm happy by nature because I choose to be happy. But like I was struggling. And I said, I've heard it, but not necessarily in relation to me. And she takes my hand and she said, sweetie, what's really going on? And it was just the craziest thing because I had worked so hard to like have this perfect image for so many years. And I just burst into tears, like on this workout bench in Texas, makeup streaming down my face. And I just said, you know what? I got a divorce and I've never dealt with it. And I do so much for everyone else, but I don't even know what makes me happy anymore. And it was just like this crazy conversation that I clearly didn't expect to have. But what happened from that conversation, and she never let me shoot the commercial. She sent me home, which I'm really thankful for. She said that she couldn't shoot it in integrity, which I thought was such a cool thing for someone to have that much like strength to do.
Right.
But yeah, she sent me home. And so when I went home, it was really interesting because I realized like at that point I had maybe like 20,000 followers on social media. And I realized that I have this huge platform and that not only did they deserve for me to be honest with them, but it was time that I was honest with myself. So I went I decided for 90 days I was going to go on this total journey of personal development and self-discovery and just commit to a different way of leading my life. And I end up for 90 days, I took out my two biggest distractions, which at the time for me was dating and drinking. And I took that out for 90 days and pretty much everything changed. And my life is so different now than it was then. And I'm healthier. I'm more focused. I understand time blocking. Like my relationships are amazing. Like just personal development. It's everything.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did through those 90 days?
Yeah. Totally. I mean, so the first thing I did is like, I looked at my life where I was at and I said, okay, so I get where I'm at right now, but like, where do I want to go and how do I want to feel? So I started saying like, who do I want to be? What conversations do I want to be having? Who do I want to surround myself with? Like, what do I want my life to look like? And I did a couple different things. One of the things I did, like I said, I took out dating and drinking. And what happens when you take out alcohol from your life is you start to be really aware of kind of like what you're putting in your body. And I was like, well, if I'm going to take out alcohol, I might as well like try and limit my sugar, and maybe I won't put, have cream sauces. And so I just started to make like little rules around nutrition. And one of them in the grocery store was to shop on the outside perimeter where like all the fresh foods are and the meats and the lean, fish and that kind of stuff, because all the preservative filled stuff is usually in the center of the grocery store.
Right.
So I started to do that. And then I was like, well, instead of the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is usually drink coffee. And I said, you know what? I'm going to set myself up for success. I'm going to put a glass of water by my bed at nighttime. So the very first thing I do before my 2 feet hit the floor is I'm going to chug a glass of water. And then later I made a rule that I would drink 2 liters of water a day. And one of the biggest pieces I have to tell you is something that I call editing your peer group. And what happens when you decide you're going to go on this major journey of personal development is not everyone ends up being supportive of your lifestyle. And that can be really difficult. So when I took out drinking, I realized that some of these friendships that I have, and I put that in quotes, they weren't very deep. They were more on like a surface level, and we'd have cocktails or whatever. And so I started to look at who I surround myself with. And Jim Rohn had a quote that really hit home for me. And he said that you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with.
Right.
And so I had to just take a look at who those 5 were. And I was like, well, if these people are a reflection of me, is that how I want my life to be? And when you get really, really crystal clear on how you're leading your life, you start to want these like really big, deep, powerful conversations, and you want to make an impact on others. And, and then I'm being honest with everybody on social media while I'm in this journey. And it was really interesting to see how people reacted, because not everybody was supportive, and it was hard at first, but then it's empowering when you really truly get clear on who you want to be and how you're going to lead your life.
And you were being probably more of yourself, sharing more of yourself on social media than you were before as well, right? Like, I know for me, as a health and wellness person, you don't want to share pictures of the cookie you just ate, right? You're going to show the organic, salad or whatever. So that was probably one of the steps you went through as well, right? Like just being totally authentic.
Yeah. And, I was worried because for my business, like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm selling the American dream, like the house. If they know I've gotten a divorce, I have a broken home. And reality was like a lot of people got divorced. And I was so embarrassed about it because I didn't want to be a statistic. And reality was that so many people could relate to me. And they were like, oh my gosh, Rachel, like, we're so proud of you. And then it was people started to join me on my journey. And they wanted, when I was like, okay, I'm going to cut out drinking for 90 days. Like, who's in? People are like, you're insane. But, the thing for me with alcohol was, it wasn't like I was drinking every night of the week, but I was having a glass of wine like 3 or 4 nights a week. And you can have great intentions about food and what you're going to fuel your body with. But after you have a glass of wine, you're like, sure, we can split the appetizer. Okay, yeah, we'll have dessert. And 32 pounds later,
Right. Yeah.
And I honestly, I was like diet to diet to diet. I was that person that just wanted the quick fix, wanted the magic pill. And the cool thing about listening to my body and removing alcohol and the sugar is I finally could listen to how my body reacted to something. And I found that alcohol for me was almost like numbing. I didn't know what my body would do, but I realized I really embraced the mantra that food is fuel and not therapy. Because my family, we celebrated with food. If you're anxious, what's a comfort food? If you're excited, it's like food was our go-to.
Sure.
And I really got to understand like how my body felt with food. And it was so powerful. And I've seriously been on a diet every day that I can remember. And then when I finally stopped dieting, and I implemented a couple of different things into my life around food, but I found freedom. And all of a sudden, of course, then the weight drops off. And I'm like, are you kidding me? When I find, like, all I had to do was this.
So diet was a big part of that journey. And what about mindset? It sounds like, I'm just assuming you did a lot of meditation or journaling or,
Yeah. So yeah, well, what's kind of funny is what happened when I was going through this process is, like, I had Nina, the one who interviewed me. I hadn't seen her or talked to her since that interview. And it was like day 69 of my 90. And I'm walking down the hallway at a real estate convention and I see her and she's like, Rachel, oh my gosh, you look amazing. What happened to you? Because I'm like 25 pounds lighter and my skin's glowing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You happened in that conversation.
Wow.
And she has 25 years experience coaching all these celebrities and all these people. And I don't think she realizes what an impact she makes. And she's like, well, we need to talk about this. And so to get 10 minutes with her is difficult. And we end up talking 1 hour every week for the next 2 months. She flew me down to her beach house in San Diego. And she's like, do you think that you could pinpoint some of the things that changed? And I said, well, I journaled the whole time. And she's like, what? And I said, I have 90 journal entries. And she said, oh my gosh, we have to go through it. So we end up going through the journal and we pinpointed 12 things that really changed for me in this 90-day journey. And those 12 things ended up becoming the book we wrote together, and then the program and the videos and the t-shirt. And now we have people doing the program like in New Zealand and Africa, and like it's just bananas. It's crazy.
Cool. So it's the sorry, go ahead.
No, it's journaling. One chapter is literally all about journaling. Another one is meditation and mindset. And it's just, mindset is everything. It really is.
And then exercise.
Yeah, definitely exercise. So what happens when you start to commit to this different lifestyle is you make one small good choice. And then you make another small good choice. And after that, you make another choice and another choice. And then your good choices start to have this compound effect, right?
Yep.
And before you know it, people are saying, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Your skin's glowing. Or you just have a different energy about you. And it's like the little choices over time, they add up. And so the way that the book kind of is written is every chapter has a different topic. And the first half of every chapter is called Rachel's Journey. So it's why I went through what I went through and kind of the relatable one. And then the second half is called Nina's Knowledge, and it's done workbook style. So the reader's actually kind of digging in and asking themselves some difficult questions. So it starts with your story and your big why. Like, who are you and why do you do what you do? And like, who do you want to be? And then you figure out what your two biggest distractions are. So what do you have in your life, or who do you have in your life potentially that's not serving you, that's holding you back from being the best version of yourself? And then there's your day planning and implementing. There's an entire chapter on water, which I had no idea how big of a deal water was until I committed to a healthy lifestyle. There's exercise and sleep, meditation and quiet time, self-love, journaling, oh my gosh, spirituality. There's just mindset and body posture. That's one of my favorite ones. But it's just like it's such a different thing to do, to really look at your life, because so many people, either they're not where they want to be with their health or with their relationship or even career. And so what I realized when I started sharing is that so many people out there feel stuck and they don't know what to do. Right.
Yeah. And so I just wrote down time blocking, Rachel.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Okay. So I've heard that in real estate, we call them mega agents, but they say that the average mega agent is a student 52 days out of the year. So that means once a week they're doing something to further their education. And I really, really believe in that principle. And I teach time blocking. Like at my webinar series, we literally have an entire week dedicated to time blocking. And I thought, I feel like time blocking is the one thing where people struggle with it. And no matter where you're at in your life, like we're all like, oh, I want more hours in the day. And with time blocking, there's a few different things you can do. The first step, I would say, when you're trying to see how, what you're doing with your time, is you have to actually be willing to catalog it. So what I would encourage people to do for 2 full days, actually write down what they're doing. So what time they wake up, if they wake up with an alarm, how many times they hit snooze, how long it takes them to get showered, if they exercise, get kids breakfast ready, get out the door, commute to the office. When they get in the office, emails, if you're on emails and then you click on Facebook for a second and then all of a sudden you click on YouTube and now you're watching cat videos for 20 minutes, like write it down. Yeah. So you literally catalog everything you're doing for 2 full days. And then you take a look at your days and you take a green pen. And what you do is you go back through and you circle your money-making activities. So you circle your things you're doing during the day that directly relate in a dollar-producing activity. And what you'll find is that a lot of the things you're doing in your day aren't serving you. They're not actually things you should be doing during work hours. So you start to be really clear and aware of your time. And then this is the other piece that I just learned, that it was like I just did a Facebook Live on it because it was such a game changer for me. And it's the thought of being proactive versus reactive.
Okay.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I have. In some sense.
Did you read? Okay. So I hadn't heard it. And when the guy, the man who was talking about it, he was like talking about being proactive versus reactive. He said, how many times are you working in the day and then your phone goes off and you get a text message or you get an email or you get a Facebook notification and then you tend to that and then you come back and you keep working for a little bit and then you go, ding. And that's called being reactive. You're reacting to the things that are happening around you.
Right.
And so this guy was talking about being proactive with your time. And when you say that you're going to sit down and, check your emails for an hour, that is all you're doing. Your phone is upside down. Your notifications are off. You're not checking Facebook. You're not responding to a text message. That's proactive. And I literally had this aha moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been living my life as a reactive person. I react to the things happening around me instead of being proactive and saying, this is what I'm going to do and this is the time frame I'm going to do it in.
Right.
And it was a game changer for me.
Yeah. For me, it's first thing in the morning. First thing I did was roll over, check my phone, check my email, look at Facebook. And then my day was starting out reacting to whatever someone else was posting or my email. And so in order to start my day the way that I wanted, I proactively just started with like drink a glass of water and then I do some affirmations.
Love it.
Get my mindset right. That way I'm in control and then I'm not reacting. So that's pretty close to what you were talking about as well, the proactive versus
absolutely
reactive.
And I love that you have a morning routine. Like I have a YouTube video where I show my morning routine when I was doing my 90-day journey, because I think like what you just said with affirmations, they're so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about who you are now, but it's who you're going to become.
Right.
One of my affirmations was I'm tight, toned, and I drink a gallon of water a day. And I was 32 pounds overweight. I was drinking coffee instead of water. But I was like, no, this is who I'm going to be. So every morning I told myself that. What is one of your affirmations you say?
That I'm a healer. That I'm going to start my day in a positive light. Something great is going to happen today. I say that every day.
Love it.
And I tell my kids to say that every day as well before they go to school. Something great is going to happen today.
I love that. It's good that you're starting them young.
They think I'm crazy, but
I think that's so powerful.
Thanks.
They'll think you're crazy till they're older, and then they're going to be like, my dad freaking rocks.
Thank you. So let's talk about your 90-day Lost to Found program. Now, I think you touched on it a little bit. And it's a book and it's a program. Is that right? So
there's two options. You can do the book, and the book is, again, it's half of it's Rachel's journey, and then the second half is Nina's knowledge. So it's a workbook style book, and you can purchase the book. However, people who tend to have the most success do the full program. And the reason for it is I think that we can have a lot of good intentions about what we're going to do with our time and how we're going to react to things. But when life shows up, if you don't have someone holding you accountable and the support, we found that it's hard, because the problem with self-help books is you're doing it by yourself. And so what we really have tried to create, and we have now, is this amazing community. So the book is called Lost to Found in 90 Days, Your Journey to Self-Discovery and Ultimate Happiness. And what the program is every month, so it's a 90-day program. Every Monday, you're assigned a chapter of the book, and you're sent an inspirational guidance video. And the videos of Nina and I, and we're kind of coaching you through that week's chapter and talking, the fitness one, we talk about how to get 6-pack abs while you drive. And, the water one, we talk about a tip when you're flying in an airplane with what to do with water and, just different stuff. And you're also linked in with a 90-day Facebook community. So it's a private group, and every day you have a post. And the post sometimes is like, who's someone who inspires you and why. And another one is when you're trying to figure out your 2 distractions, is everyone really sharing what theirs are. And you start to create this really amazing sense of community, because everyone's going through the changes at the same time, and they connect. There's also a t-shirt and an app. And the app's probably my favorite part. We just got it approved by Apple and Android. And the app, you can track your water, your foods, your workout. You take progress pictures at day 0, 30, 60, 90. There's clean eating grocery lists and sample meal plans, how to dress for your body type, like snacks on the go, exercise videos. It's kind of like personal development anywhere you are. There's even a journaling app. For me, I'm always on the go, and I want to be able to work on personal development no matter where I'm at. And I didn't want to have to count on needing to have the book with me to be able to work on myself. And so that's what we created with the app. And it's crazy. We were on Fox 40 and ABC News, and knock on wood, I potentially have my first TED Talk coming up next February.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's just, thank you. It's just, I don't know. It's such a cool thing, because I always thought real estate would be what I'm known for. And the impact that this program is having on people's lives and their marriages and their health. We have one of our, my ex-business partner's assistant. She just lost 47 pounds doing the program.
Wow. And
it's not a weight loss program, but it's really hard to not lose weight when you're just so aware of your body now.
Well, your body's programmed. I believe your body's programmed for health. You just have to get out of the way and provide it with the things that it requires, right? And that's pretty much what you're doing.
I love that. I'm going to write that down. I love that. Watch, I'm going to use that in a podcast at some point.
Awesome. Thanks.
Listen, I'm going to just, I think portion size is a huge thing too. We're programmed to eat so much food, and that's what you're served in restaurants and all of that. And you have to take charge. And when you're really listening to your body doesn't need as much food as you think it does. Now, that doesn't mean I don't eat a lot of quantity, because I eat often. I eat usually every 2 or 3 hours, but if I'm at a restaurant, I'm not eating a huge plate of food. And I have kind of a funny rule that I implemented that really is helpful for me. And it's breakfast like a queen, lunch like a princess, and then dinner like a pauper. So it's kind of the opposite of what most people think, but I eat a really big breakfast and then a medium-sized lunch and a smaller dinner, and then I'll have a couple snacks throughout the day. But I'm super, super aware of what I'm fueling my body with. Clean, good foods. And I didn't know what all of that was until I really started to listen to my body and remove some of the junk.
So, Rachel, let's talk about the struggle a little bit, because I know that changing our lifestyle is difficult, right? Like giving up things and adding things can be hard at times for people. Can you tell us about a couple of instances that you struggled either giving something up or adding something to your life as far as a diet or exercise?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm big on little wins, right? So I've tried to do sign up for a gym membership, and I'm going to do this crazy boot camp class, and I'm going to commit to it. And this is the new me. I'm I'm going to be a yogi because they look so peaceful and happy. I'm going to do yoga every day, and I'm going to feel amazing, and I'm going to look amazing. And all of a sudden my skin's going to glow. And I do it twice, and I think I hate it. I'm well, this isn't working. So I started to just do, when I woke up in the morning, so before my 2 feet hit the floor, I'd drink a glass of water. And then as soon as I got out of bed, I would drop to the ground and I would do 22 push-ups and 30 crunches and 25 squats. And I found, I was like, it wasn't like I was going out and running a marathon or anything, but it was a small thing I did every single morning. And when you're being aware of what you're putting in your body and you're eating healthy, and then all of a sudden you do this little setup in the morning, you start to you start to see changes. And so it wasn't this crazy thing that I committed to. I just committed to small things in the morning, and that was really helpful.
Such good advice.
One of the biggest things I'll tell you. Yeah, right? Just simple.
Yeah.
Simple. And then I will tell you my biggest shift for me with diet. So like I said, I was diet to diet to diet. And I always think of diet as a bad word, but really diet is what you eat. It's not what you're on. It's just what you eat. And I always was restrictive. I would say, well, I can't eat that. I can't eat those donuts. I can't eat that muffin. And I was like terrified of carbs. Like, I know that sounds silly, but I was terrified of them because I was like, nope, carbs make me fat. My body doesn't like carbs. Nope, nope, nope. And so I would tell myself no to all these different foods. And so it was a restriction. But then what would happen, to be totally honest, is I would say no, no, no. And then I would binge eat at some point. I would eat like 5 muffins instead of, because I didn't eat them for 4 months. So now I can eat 5. That makes tons of sense, right?
Right.
So I took out the rule that I can't have it. And what happened is I said, I can eat absolutely anything that I want. But how does my body feel when I eat? So I took a circle. I took a piece of paper and I put a big circle on it. And I said, okay, how does my body feel? And I like wrote down vegetables, chocolate, bread, like anything to me that was food. I literally wrote out the word on this piece of paper. And then I said, okay, how does my body feel when I eat this, that? And I'm looking at them. And so I realized my body feels really good when I eat a ton of vegetables. So my big circle, I put a line down the middle of it vertically. And on the left side, I wrote vegetables. And then I looked at the other half of this circle and I said, okay, how does my body feel when I eat these other things? And I took that other half circle and I put that in half. So I cut it in 2. And on that top part, I wrote lean protein. So I'm like, okay, I know my body feels really good when I eat a lot of vegetables. I want to eat a lot of lean protein. And then I took that other half circle and I cut it into like 15 little slices. And on one of them, I wrote bread, and one I wrote chocolate, and one I wrote dairy, and one I wrote fruit. And so then I'm like, okay, if majority of, and this was what represented for me a day of food, if the majority of my day is lean or lots of vegetables and lean protein, and then I have just little bits of this other stuff, that's a pretty darn good day for me. And so I started to just eliminating that I can't have something was like the most freeing feeling. Have you ever had any struggle with nutrition or any of that?
Absolutely. All the time. Yeah.
Does that resonate to you at all? Or what do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, anytime you just say you can't have anything, I think that's what you think about all the time. Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah. And
So the restriction, removing that out of my life and saying I could have it, how does it make my body feel? So that's what I think about now. And that doesn't mean that I don't have like 2 or 3 glasses of wine if I want to, but I'm aware of how my body will feel. And if I choose to have an extra glass of wine, then I will have an extra 2 glasses of water to accompany it, and it's like, oh my God, water is such a foundational piece. I had no clue.
Right. Yeah. It's huge. Our body's mostly water to begin with. It really is. Yeah. So Rachel, you mentioned in the beginning how you went through a divorce and now you're engaged. Congratulations. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Can you tell us about that process and just about your?
I feel like it's a biggie, and I also think it's super important. So I had gotten a divorce, and I was that person. I stayed in my marriage probably 2 years longer than I should have. I was married to a disabled veteran with really bad PTSD that didn't want to get help. And I thought that I could fix him, and I thought that I could change him. And we all know how well that works. And so, when I got a divorce, I was really embarrassed about it because I thought I was like a negative statistic. And what I realized through my journey is that it's only part of my journey. It didn't have to define me. And, I think for my business, like you asked me about a business goal, I will give you a timeline. I'll tell you exactly how I'm going to do it. I'll give you a growth plan. But I never really did that for my personal life. And so when I found myself on this 90-day journey, I'm like, okay, what does a good relationship look like to me? And what do I really want in a partner? So I wrote down all the words that mattered to me in a relationship, like, communication, intimacy, a sense of community, health, like, my God. And next to each word, I wrote a paragraph about what the word meant to me. And I kind of thought that I was getting clarity, like, for my next relationship, but I realized later, kind of with reflection, that I was actually setting a standard for what I would and what I wouldn't allow in my life. And I think too many times people, when they think they want to start dating or when they're in a relationship, they're like, okay, what do I need to do? How much weight do I need to lose? What, new habit do I need to learn in order to attract the right person? And that's a backwards way of thinking, because reality is, when you're actually leading your life with authenticity and intention, you're going to attract the right person, because they're going to be attracted to who you are, not who you're trying to be, but who you actually are. And the crazy thing for me was that I go on this break, and it had been about 3 years since I'd gotten divorced, but then I go on this 90-day journey, and no joke, like 3 months after I wrote the book, I met Ryan.
Wow.
And he literally is my list. Every single thing I wrote down, that's him. And I don't think, if I met him before, I don't think I would have been ready for him. But now, like, we're training right now for our first full marathon. We did a half this year, but we're training for our first full marathon together. And I always wanted someone that would exercise with me. Like, it might seem silly, but it was a huge deal to me to be with someone who would eat healthy and want to exercise with me. Like, because that was who I wanted to be. That's the kind of lifestyle I wanted. And, now we have tons of people. It's kind of funny and also slightly creepy, because we have tons of people that follow us on social media, and he had people literally sending him like links to like jewelry stores and stuff. They're like, we can help you find her ring, and he's like, oh my God. But it's just, I don't know. And now we have this like beautiful life, and we're such good friends and planning a wedding, and it's like, I don't know, we get to have such awesome conversations about this life that we get to choose to be in, and we travel all the time, and it truly is like a life by design.
Yeah. Wow. I just had some light bulb moments go off when you talked about that. It makes sense to, if you want to attract the person that you're meant to be with, you should probably be your most authentic self. But it's so hard because,
yes.
you don't.
I know.
There's like, I don't know if most of us have like the self-worth thing, or, that, I have to be this in order to attract someone. But all you really have to do is be yourself, and that right person would come to you. It's awesome. Thanks for that.
It's so true. And so, yeah. And I want people to really take that to heart, but it does take some time for you to actually be honest with yourself and figure out who you are.
That's hard.
And really figure out what interests you. And it's scary. It's scary.
So journaling, is that what it would, journaling and just figuring out who you are?
Yeah. And the program's really good for that. The program will really help you dig deep and kind of get clarity on who you want to be as a person, and what there's a whole section where you talk about your dreams and your goals and, your joy list. Like, what actually makes you happy? If you were truly leading your life for you, what makes you happy? What makes you tick? What brings joy to your life? And when you start to look at your life, you go, okay, well, this makes me happy. What am I doing with my day? Do I get to do anything in my day that's on my happy list? Well, that sucks. Maybe I should look at how I'm spending my time, Right.
So how can people find the program?
So if they want to look up the program, they can go www.losttofound90.com. And the number 2 and the number 90 are the actual number. And if you want to learn more about me and what I'm doing, you can go to www.racheladamsinspire.com. And I'll make sure we also send you the link if you want to check out my morning routine. I can send that to you as well.
Ooh, thank you. Yeah.
I'm
Awesome.
super active on Facebook also. So if people want to chat there, they're welcome to. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I'll have links to all of your stuff on our show notes on unleashyourgenius.com.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been so great talking to you, Rachel.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to Unleash Your Genius with your host, Dr. Brian Peterson. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit unleashyourgenius.com. We'll catch you next time.